What's happening, party people? I am still in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am looking for and waiting for either or a rear main seal so that I could fix this oil leak on this S70, and then I should be prepared to move on into the California area. Now, this video I picked back up in Las Vegas, Nevada. I didn't get finished with everything on that Platinum wagon because I scheduled a flight out of there and wasn't done with the work. I switched it 3 days out, still wasn't done with the work. So things taking a little longer than I anticipate. I had to bounce. So I will probably go through Oregon early May and finish that car up. Got most of the stuff done. A few petty things left over, had to bounce. So picking it up in Las Vegas. Hope you enjoyed today's clips. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you could click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. We are in Lake Flynn, the happiest place on earth. Woo woo. They are hitting them fast and hard. I can't tell if this is silver or moon dust, but this is a good looking bumper on this car. This is the one that was here before, Gilbert. This is that corner light.
Oh, no, they got another one.
I think I took the latch off of this back door. Yeah, this one was here already. I took this latch off of that door. Yeah, they got some new ones on this road. Now these things here are breaking on the alarming rate. Are they breaking on the tan ones or just the black ones? Those corner pieces there. This is a fresh one here. It looks like it's got the front lights. Changing the rear hatch supports on this 01. I'm not sure how to get this piece to stop breaking when I take this piece off. That breaks almost every time. Maybe I'm not pulling that out far enough before I pull this other piece out. So do. Yeah, I gotta pull that out farther. Got the new lifts installed. They did not have the pins in the package, so try not to mangle those because you'll need those. These lifts do work, but not when it's real cold, like under 60. Let me get this car back together. When you get these new lifts on, you might want to hold it when it goes up. Goes up fast sometimes, but that's it, all done. Now we're going to put a corner light on this car because the one that was on it had a little crack in it. So if somebody's got a busted corner light and they want one with mild damage to it, we got that, because this one didn't have any cracks on it. It's actually a new replacement light. Let me snap that in place. Got this antenna put in. The teeth went forward. Slid it down in there, good to go. And of course got this corner light put on, that's good to go. Messed with the roof trim, decided to keep the old one, the new one cracked somehow. 2012 C70, it's a P1 chassis. We're going to do the CV axle on this passenger side. That thing is wore out. So we're going to break the lug nuts loose, put it up on jack stands, take the wheel off, and take the carrier bearing loose
And hopefully that'll be enough room to slide the axle out of the knuckle and then pull it out of the transmission and then swap the replacement in. This thing is wore out. The boots are worn out, the joints are worn out. It's shaking the car violently when you accelerate. It just needs to be replaced, so that's what we're going to do. Let us break the lug nuts loose, put it on jack stand. Pull the nut out of the hub, 13 millimeter. You can see there how torn open this boot was in that CV axle. Next thing I'm going to do is take this tie rod in loose, and hopefully I'll be able to pivot that thing enough to get that axle out of there. So let me grab the tool to get that loose. Man, it looks like that thing is split on top. Somebody's taken that thing apart and split it. Took the nut off of there. The tip of it was cracked, so it did chip a little bit of that off. That should go back on. Took a sledgehammer, beat the end of the knuckle. That allowed that to come out. Now, hopefully, we can try to pivot this thing forward and get it to come out. That looked like it's pivoting. We'll probably have to take this control arm loose down here on the bottom. There and there. Let me work on that, since it doesn't seem to be pivoting. And then we'll take those two bolts out right there, the carrier bearing. Take the control arm loose from the body of the car, then it should pivot enough to get this axle out. Probably didn't need to take that tie rod in loose, but I did. Now I got the nut off of this ball joint. I'm going to tap that a couple times with the sledge, try to hit the knuckle and not that. Not hit it too hard to do any damage, just to pop it loose. Then pry that down and push the knuckle assembly forward so that I can get the axle to slide out of there. It's got this dust boot on the back of this axle. You don't want to lose that. Gently tap that a few times. It came down and loose. Now I should be able to push it far enough away to get that axle out of there. Then take those carrier nuts loose. They look like 10 millimeters. Taking the bolts out of this carrier bearing, you might want to put a mark on the way this carrier bearing goes in there so you don't get that thing flipped upside down. It holds the carrier bearing a certain way, so that orientation needs to stay the same. So I knocked the dirt off of the top one, and I'm taking those 10 millimeter bolts out. I'm getting the lower one with a 1/4 inch. I already broke it loose with a box end, and I got that one loose with a 3/8 inch ratchet. We have the axle out. It helped to have this tie rod in loose. So we're getting ready to go back in with the new one we got from IPD. And this is the old one, the original, and it has some play. Clockwise is where you need no play at. As you can see, it's just gutted, so we hope the new one, the splines fit well. That's the issue with getting aftermarket stuff in. So let us open that thing up, try to get it in. Got that nut on top of that busted tie rod in. It was a little hard getting started, but it finally went on. Then I started putting the nut in the ball joint. Had to get some help. Guys stood on one of these lug nut bolts or something to get this ball joint to pop in. Then when I started tightening that nut, the ball joint started turning, so I put this jack under it to kind of put some stress on the ball joint up in there. Then I was able to tighten that nut. So we got those two tins tightened, this ball joint on this tie rod end tightened, and the ball joint on the control arm tightened. And we're getting ready to put the screw in here and torque it on, and then we'll be good to go. It's got some grease in there, but we're going to torque that to 35 foot-pounds. The bolt had grease on it instead of Loctite. Down in the hole as well. I'm not sure if that was returned like that, but it's okay for those to be on the spline, but not down in the screw hole. So I'm gonna get that out, clean it out with brake parts cleaner, put some Loctite on it, and then put that in that way. I sprayed all that grease out of there with brake parts cleaner. Then I put some thread sealant on there. It's better to use thread lock. It had blue on the original one, so that would be good. And then I torqued that thing to 35 foot-pounds plus 60 degrees. And we're going to put the wheel back on. Torque the wheels to 100. Got the wheel lug nuts torqued on, the centerpiece in. That's all done. Need a test drive. We're going to do the air filter that's in here. 2 Phillips screws. So we're going to pull those screws out, take that air filter out. And then we got a cabin filter to put in too. So let's do the air filter first. Once you get those screws loose, you put your fingers under here. It just lifts right up and out. And you take the air filter out. And you could date this thing or whatever you want to do. But as you can see, this one's plenty dirty, ready to be changed. So we got a man one here that we're going to put in there. Just set it in there and mark your date and your service records and replace that thing 30,000 miles or so. This one's got a pre-filter. Set that thing in there like that. Make sure it's nice and snug in there. Guide it down in there. Make sure your screws are aligned. Massage that in. Let me use both hands so I can get that all the way in. Those screws go in plastic, so don't over tighten them, just snug them down. Hold that filter cartridge in place. You're good to go. Let's go find this cabin air filter. 2012 C70. This is a P1 platform Volvo. We're going to do the cabin air filter. It is behind the gas pedal right there in that compartment there. The best thing to do is remove the gas pedal. You got 3 screws in it, 1 at the bottom, 2 at the top. Unplug the gas pedal, get it out of your way. So you also take the carpet out of your way, your floor mat, so you can bend your carpet back a little bit. Carpet kind of snaps down into these tabs right there. So you push those down and get your floor mat out of the way. Now you can pull your carpet down, get that gas pedal out. So let me get that gas pedal out of the way, unplug it, then I'll have access to the cabin air filter compartment. I pushed the gas pedal over the yoke, pulled the carpet down. This one has some kind of plastic wing nut there. So I'm gonna pull that wing nut out and see if there's anything else holding this thing in. Nope, that appears to be it. Just one wing nut. I don't know if it's missing a different attachment or what. But here's the cabin air filter here. You want to pay attention to what direction it's pointing. And you could pull it down and kind of roll it out like that to get it out. There is some dirt in there. You could try to vacuum that out and work the new one in. So let me see what way the arrow was flowing on this one. Vacuum the dirt out of there. Now I'm going to put the filter back in there and put the cover back on it. Make sure you don't suck up none of your nuts when you do that. And let's put this cabin filter. So to get the filter in there, I kind of rolled it up into a tube, slid it up there, and then fed the end of it in, worked it in there till it was sitting in there right. The end cap has a lip on it, it tucked under, and then that one wing nut screwed it closed. Then I put these 10mm nuts back in this accelerator pedal, and we're good to go. I'm gonna tuck this carpet back behind this trim, put the floor mat down because we vacuumed behind there, and we should be good to go. Make sure you get this carpet tucked in right or it won't sit right for you. You don't want it poking out looking strange. So there it is, folks. Cabin air filter done. There it is, folks. Top down, rolling away. Whoop, whoop. This 850 wagon has a bad fuel odor, and it may be leaking fuel. We pulled the tank access, and you see this hose right here has a split in it. That could leak, and it definitely will make odors go in there, so we got to find the ends of that and replace that thing. We got one from IPD. It's aftermarket, but I don't know if you can get the proper ones anymore. So, trying to remember where the end of that thing is. There it is right there. Clamp pointed up in the air. So let's see if we can drill a hole right here. Get to that clamp. Got the wagon back together and he's ready to go racing. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.